Good afternoon. This is Jane here, and I'm going to finish up part 2 of Out of Something Strong, Something Sweet. It is about the story of Samson, the judge in the Old Testament Bible, chapter 13 through 16. I had finished with his anger. He had just met up with his new wife's father at her house to ask why, she wasn't at home with him. And the father had said that he had given her away to one of his friends. And this angered Samson, and he went away in a huff, naturally, and to get even, he burned down their fields. And in destroying their crops then, the Philistines then got very angry and wanted to get even with him. And so they did a very, very vicious thing and killed his wife and her father. Obviously, they didn't care very much for them at all if they had considered that an even pay. Now remember, this is in the days of eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. Without Jesus, there was not a concept of forgiveness and turning the cheek. So everyone just thought that was law, and that's what you did. So that's after this happened, Samson was totally crushed, totally infuriated. The Spirit came upon him, and it says he slaughtered many. It doesn't say how many, but this went back and forth, because then the Philistines wanted to get even with him, and they came to the Israelites and asked for Samson, that they must surrender Samson. Well, the Israelites didn't want to have that kind of trouble in their camp, so they forced Samson out of his cave, they tied him up, and they turned him over to the enemy, the Philistines. Well, when they did that, it was really bad, really bad. And so when he got closer and closer to the enemy, he was able to break away. So being tied up didn't do them any good. He broke through the ropes and killed 1,000 men. Well, then it says he went on to lead and rule Israel for 20 years after that. So a lot of time went by, and so far all the men that he has killed has been the will of God. So Samson meets a woman. It says she's a prostitute, but I would like to debunk the tabloids, the Christian tabloids, around what Samson does with this prostitute. And the reason I'd like to debunk the tabloids around the chapter 16 is because in Joshua chapter 2, Joshua sends spies in to the Philistines, and they are supposed to encamp in the enemy line, and they end up staying with a prostitute, Rahab. And it says that the spies are sent in to the house where the prostitute Rahab is, and I believe that that is, I guess, enough evidence that you really can't draw what went on, how much of sin was committed by Samson with this prostitute, because it says he went in to spend the night with her. It doesn't say that he went in to lay with her. And God is never angry after that. And if God is angry with any kind of a sinful act, he never, refrains from punishing. So, I believe that he was there. He was doing what he was supposed to do, which was embed into the enemy line and find out more where and what and when anything was going on. And he left at midnight. But then oddly, he breaks through the city gate, and together with 2 posts, he goes up the hill to face Hebron. And when I read that, I thought, why would he take 2 large posts up a hill? It, to me, was a prelude or a precluding sort of a preview of what Christ did when he took the 2 beams up Mount Calvary when he was crucified. Again, everybody accusing him of doing something with this prostitute, and why the beams? You can interpret it your own way there, but that's what I kind of drew from it. I gleaned from it. So then sometime later he fell in love with a woman in the valley of Sorek named Delilah. Delilah said to Samson, "Tell me the secret of your great strength and how you can be subdued." So he falls in love with this woman. It doesn't say she is not a prostitute, but she is lured by the Philistines to tell the secret of his strength, and they promise a reward, and they are going to pay her if she will find out what makes him weak. And they were going to give her 275 shekels each. I looked up what a shekel is. It's a quarter. So each man involved in this bribe would give her 275 quarters, which is $250. No. Let's see. Oh, it ends up she's going to get $275. A shekel is 25 cents per person. So we don't know how many people there were times $275. She was going to be very rich. So Delilah said to Samson, "Tell me the secret of your strength." He says, "If anyone ties me with 7 fresh thongs that have not been dried, I'll become as weak as any other man." Well, it doesn't work. And then she asks him again, and he says, "Tie me up with new ropes," and it doesn't work. And then she asks him again, and he says to weave his 7 braids into the loom and hook it with a pin, and he'll be made weak. He'll be caught with this loom and woven in like fabric. Well, that doesn't work either. He wakes up and he's free. So many days go by and she's frustrated. Eventually, she cons the secret out of him, and he's made weak, and the Philistines grab him and gouge out his eyes, and that's very sad. His eyes are gouged out. He's weak. They take him prisoner. They take him back to the temple, and they tie him up, and then they tell him he's supposed to dance for all the Philistines. They have a big festival, and there's tens of thousands of Philistines around watching the man with all the strength, and he has no strength. But between being in shackles and grinding grain for these people, they force him to dance and entertain him and entertain them, and it's very mean. And well, one day he's in the temple entertaining, and he asks a servant to take him over to a pillar, and he's going to stand by the pillar, and his plan is to knock him down. And so he stands by the pillar, and with great strength, he pushes 2 pillars over, and the temple comes crashing down with tens of thousands of people crushed and killed. He, of course, is killed also in it, and that's the end of Samson. But what a neat story. I mean, what a loyal and dedicated servant of God. And his family come and take his body and bury him in a special place that you can go see today. This does apply to us in so many ways today as a Christian. We have to be strong. We have to face the lion. when it is attacking us in our daily trials. But the Lion of Judah will come, and he will be strong for us, and he will fight for us, and he will be there. And you can always depend on his protecting you through prayer, and the Lion of Judah will always answer your prayers and come when you call. And he is gentle and sweet, and God is strong, and we all have a friend in Jesus. Have a good day.